Welcome! Presenting the Garifuna Culture of Belize by Anibal Castellanos, Sheldon Williams, Edwin Oliveira, and Lizzie Mess. Belize has a history and population that is rich in diversity. Within Belize, there are 8 distinct ethnic groups that each bring their own history, language, and culture. One of these groups is the Garifuna people, who primarily inhabit the Caribbean coastal communities of Belize. The history of the Garifuna people began over 400 years ago when South American Carib Indians migrated up to the Caribbean island of St. Vincent. The primary goal of this migration was for the Carib Indians to conquer the Arawak Indians, who were the original inhabitants of the island. Later in 1635, 2 ships carrying West and Central African slaves from Africa to the West Indies ran ashore in St. Vincent. Those that survived stayed in St. Vincent and lived among the Carib Indians. For nearly 2 centuries, the Carib Indians and descendants of African slaves intermarried and created what is now known as the Garifuna ethnic group, or Black Carib. In 1660, the British granted the Garifuna people perpetual possession of the island of St. Vincent. However, less than a decade later, the British broke this treaty and reclaimed the island of St. Vincent. Because of their prominence of the island and their successful fishing and farming practices, the British saw the Garifuna as a threat to their colonial mission and began to exile the nearly 5,000 Garifuna people to the island of Roatan, off the coast of Honduras. From Roatan, the Garifuna began to migrate to the mainland of Honduras and continued to spread out along the Caribbean coast of Belize, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. The first Garifuna people arrived in Belize on November 19, 1802, in the town of Dangriga, which is considered to be the spiritual capital of Belizean Garifuna people. Today, the Garifuna people are a thriving population in the country of Belize, having successfully preserved much of their cultural heritage. The Garifuna language, dance, and music were declared to be a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. Music and dance are central to the Garifuna culture. With a heavy focus on drumming, traditional Garifuna has also evolved into a more modern version called punta and even more modern punta rock, which incorporates traditional drumming with modern lyrics and instruments. In addition to the music, dance is an integral part of the Garifuna culture, stemming from the West African origins. Popular forms of Garifuna dance include punta, chomba, hungu hungu, and jankuno. Each type of dance tells a different story of the Garifuna people. Another important part of the Garifuna culture is the food. Garifuna cuisine is rich in flavor and most commonly consists of fish, cassava, coconut, and plantains. The most common served along Garifuna meals is hudut, which is mashed plantain or yam, served along sere, which is a coconut-based fish stewed served with cassava bread. Folklores. Although it has been illegal for a long time, Obia, the traditional witchcraft of the Caribbean, still exists. Some Garifuna still practice it secretly. Its rituals involve dances, drumming, and trances for contacting the spirit of the dead. It is generally used either to harm one's enemy or to ward off spells that others may have cast. An object used in such spell is the Puchinga doll. It is made of cloth stuffed with black feathers and is buried under the doorstep of the intended victim. Crosses are sometimes painted on the children's forehead to ward off the evil eye. Religion. The Garifuna practice a version of Catholicism that uses many aspects of their traditional religion. It combines belief in saints with reverence towards Gubida, the spirit of ancestors, and faith in shamans or spirit helpers called buyes. Their religious practice include dancing, singing, drumming, and use of alcohol, have long been considered suspicious by outsiders. Established churches and people living nearby have accused them of paganism and devil worship. Some buyes, however, have served as Catholic priests or nuns. Trade of work. Then they were hunters, farmers, fishermen. Now they have extended further into the job sectors. They're fishermen, artists, musicians, craftsmen, police officers, doctors, nurses, accountants, politicians, and much more, as well as a proud contributors to the tourism industry. Traditional clothing. The Garifuna traditional colors are yellow, white, and black. Men wear their colorful dashiki, a long shirt made from similar material of the woman's outfit. The shirts are not buttoned, while the women wear long dresses sewn from checkered or colorful material with a colored headpiece. Belize have a true melting pot of various cultures. The Garifuna culture has proudly proved to make what we know as our beautiful country, Belize.